So if you believe in the red, white, and blue.
The Tea Party Patriots focus on limited government, fiscal responsibility, and adherence to the Constitution. As an assemblyman, how did you stay in touch with the district you represented, and how will you promote these core values if elected to the Senate? You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
I've stayed in touch because I never moved to Sacramento. I have 2 kids still at home, and I traveled back and forth every day because I did not want to become part of the Sacramento culture. I went back and forth almost every night. That meant a 3-hour commute between Chico and then down to Sacramento and then back to Chico and back down to Sacramento. Because it's the problem with politicians is that they start out representing us to them, and then they start representing them to us, right? That's the problem. Number 2 is that if we don't stand behind our vision, and if we don't create a vision, a proactive set of solutions for California, we're not going to change the nature of the game. And folks, it's getting too late. If we don't have people get their butts in gear and actually change the nature of the discussion, convince the state of California, not people up in the north, we all agree. We need to convince people in the cities that we have good ideas. We have solutions, that they can't just label us the party of no. Saying no to bad ideas is a good thing, but that's not the end of it. That should be the minimum requirement for leadership. We need to be proactive with our own agenda like Ronald Reagan did, take it to the people, and the people start putting pressure on Sacramento, and that's when we see change. Every time there's been a change in this nation, it has been when the people have risen up. But we need leaders to take vision to the people if we want to see that happen, and that's what I believe real leadership is, and that's what's been missing. We need it on the Republican side if they ever want to gain the trust of the people back. Thank you.
Mr. Doug LaMalfa, 1 minute and 30 seconds.
All right. So, what did I do to stay in touch with the district, stay in touch with the people, and promote these values? I worked very hard at being not just a Sacramento guy, but much more a district guy, because this relationship is key to getting the kind of change we really need in California. If you're informed, if you're part of the process, things change much more quickly than by the mosh pit is typical in Sacramento. We saw that in 1978 with Prop 13. The pundits said, that'll never pass. The people got behind it strongly, overcame what the smart guys thought was going to happen. 1994, there was a revolution in the U.S. Congress as well as the state level. Republicans held the assembly for a time, as well as Congress. I realize this is a nonpartisan group. Conservative issues won the day. So we see that when people rise up in the recall election, they can make the change. And then it's up to the folks that they elect to carry through with that. So my issue was, I need all of you in this partnership because I can't do it by myself. I'm a leader in my own right, but you need to trust your leader. You need to have that interaction so that we're effective together. Because if I can call upon you and say, folks, it's time to charge the hill. Emails, petitions, phone calls, showing up in committee down there, things change. We turn back bad legislation when you're loud, and I'm there with you to invoke and get your help on that. That's how it works. So I've been very, very involved in the district.
Thank you. Hold the applause, please. Thank you. Question number 2. We'll begin with Mr. Doug LaMalfa. Have you ever authored or supported a tax increase, and why? 1 minute.
Why in the world would I do that? People are overtaxed in this state already, and government is not doing very well with what it takes from you. And believe me, I understand that. Everything government gets, every dollar it gets, comes from the sweat of your brow, not from something government has created. You know, it's kind of funny to talk about their bragging at the federal level again about all these new jobs that have been created. Well, 1/3 of them are with the U.S. Census. How long is that job going to last? And who's paying for it? Tax increases we see time and again only dampen and hurt the economy, and they hurt the people who have to pay them. Look at the last round here in California, 2009, February 14, Valentine's Day Massacre, I call it, when they increased the sales tax 1%. They increased the car tax double on that portion of the car tax. They took away the child tax credit and made it much lower. and increase the income tax on the people that are the entrepreneurs, the producers, the high-end income they always want to pick on. That's only damaged our economy, hurt the recovery of the economy. It's like throwing a lead life ring to the drowning economy. I will never support that sort of thing because it doesn't work.
Mr. Rick Keene.
I have never supported a tax increase, nor will I ever support a tax increase. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, number 3. We'll begin with Mr. Rick Keene. Both of you have been very publicly pro-life. How does your assembly record reflect that belief? And have you ever voted for taxpayer funds to subsidize abortions? You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
In my long life, I was originally intending to be a pastor, and I didn't think I could handle church politics. Pastors have a tough job. I have been a Christian now for 35 years. I've been actively involved in pro-life issues that at least the last 25 years, if not 30 years. I volunteered for Chico Life. I have donated and contributed to supporting our crisis pregnancy centers. I have supported, while I was in the legislature, the California Pro-Life Council, their events, helped fundraise for them. I have supported every measure that was brought before us where we could register our opposition, whether it was in a budget discussion or any other discussion to abortions. I have been pro-life in every aspect of my private and public life, and I have been that way for at least 35 years. I really believe, though, that things are going to get a change. If we can limit this government and get back to a place where we have conservative leadership, I think we can make some impacts on these areas. Unfortunately, they keep expanding these issues through, what do you want to call it? Dictatorial edict, if you want to call it, by the different presidents and the governors we have, and we need to fight it back. But we're never going to get a chance to register real impacts on that issues until Republicans get off their duff, actually get elected on conservative principles and stick by those convinced principles. Then we can make changes. Thank you.
And Mr. Doug LaMalfa.
I have 4 kids. 3 of them are daughters. So I've really taken the extra step to protect them and protect what they're about. In the legislature, not only did I vote against funding for abortion or anything that would advance the abortion cause, there's even days on the assembly floor where we were having commemorations of Roe v. Wade, like the 30th anniversary of it a few years ago. You know, I couldn't even be in the room for that. How in the world do we have time in the legislature to be doing that? It's a slap in the face to at least 50% of Americans and Californians, because about half the country calls itself pro-life. The other half calls itself pro-choice. But we can even find common ground on them in that many of them don't want to be paying for abortions with their tax dollars. They might think, well, you know, we should allow people a choice. So what I did was not only having those right votes, but I was very vocal about it and carried amendments to the state budget each year to take away the funding for abortions. Now, the legislature's made up in such a way that the amendment didn't go very far. They would do something called lay it on the table without even a vote. But at least they were on record as having done that in the face of probably 80% of the opinion of the people of this state and this country. So it really is important that we be vocal about it, because it's a key issue towards, I think, the foundation, the fabric of families, and indeed having God bless America.
So if you believe in the red, white, and blue, and the lives that were lost to give it to you, grab on to